Alright, so here's Kevin. So one thing I notice is when you turn in to breathe, your head is coming up and then turning back. When your head comes up like that, it's going to force your hips and your legs to drop a little bit, so that'll mess with your streamlining. Your extension is good, and for the most part your body position is pretty good here. When you're extended forward though, you notice how you got a pretty good pause at the beginning, especially with that right arm, so extend and then pause. So when you pause like that, if you have a lot of momentum, you'll glide through the water. If you don't have a lot of momentum though, you will slow down, so you lose forward momentum when you pause like that.
Alright, so this one is the more of a sprint type pace.
Your hand recovery, arm recovery is good. And your entry into the water is pretty good. So those things are not issues. Underwater stroke we'll talk about when we get to the underwater portion. All right, and here I had you swim a little harder. So you can see there's sort of a hitch when you turn to breathe. Your head and your upper body come up, and that's going to force you to work harder. Makes your legs drop a bit. So if you can eliminate that one, and I think we did as this session went along, you worked on that. That's going to help a lot, just with streamlining, which will make you faster purely by having to fight less water as you move forward. I think the things we talked about were that the form of your pull, and notice how when you're pulling with your left arm as you turn in to breathe, it really pulls in under your body, and then the actual kind of rate of turnover, or how much pause you have at the beginning of each stroke. So here, what's going on with the right arm is that you begin to do a catch position. We talked about that high elbow catch. And then your forearm really curves in under your body quite a bit. And when you do that, you wind up giving up some leverage that you otherwise could have by keeping your hand farther out or farther away from your body. The left arm is more or less pulling straight back through the water. It's pulling under your body, but your arm and your forearm and your upper arm stay more or less in the same plane. When we talk about the high elbow catch, the early vertical forearm, that's where your hand and your forearm angle down relative to the bottom of the pool, right? So they'd be vertical relative to the bottom of the pool, but your upper arm, especially at the beginning of the stroke, is still extended forward. And you're getting some of that with the right arm at the beginning of the stroke, and then the right pulls under your body. The left is just sort of pulling straight back as you turn to breathe.
So this is just working on head position, smoothing out the breathing.
All right, so here I think we're working on the head position, making that a little smoother. And it looks like we probably talked about eliminating some of the pause with the right arm extension. This looks a lot smoother.
Still working on just smooth head position.
This looks a lot smoother as well. So there's less pause and less head motion coming up out of the water. You're doing a better job here of finishing all the way through the stroke as well. So it's important, you know, I'm always talking about the front part of the stroke. Well, this is good. So here you've kind of completely eliminated the pause. This probably feels more like a sprint pace effort or a harder effort.
Turning over a little.
But timing wise, this is really what you want to swim more like. You know, the long extension and glide has its uses, but if you're interested in dropping your swim times, you need to keep your turnover up. You do want to extend as fully as you can, as far forward as you can, but then as soon as you're done extending, you start pulling. And it looked like you're doing a better job with that on that last 25 here. When you're wearing a wetsuit and then it's a 2.5 mile swim, that's when you slow down a bit and you glide a little more.
Here we're looking at
the wetsuit, you know, keeps you buoyant,
how that's pulling,
and the glide might reduce your energy just a little bit. You probably will swim a little slower too when you do that. Now this looks excellent as well. So I think we got a number of things going on. Working on the underwater pull, working on the extension, and then the immediacy of the pull, and also the head position. So here you can see what's going on from the front. Now from the front, both of those looked okay.
trying to bring in everything together.
So I don't know if that was before we had discussed or after we had discussed some of the stuff. But the front angle does look good. Now this one you're going pretty fast as well. So these are going to be things you're going to need to continue to work on. It's easy to slide back into the older habits, but head position, extension and immediate pull, and then the technique underwater, you know, high elbow catch, early vertical forearm. So there's some screenshots here at the end. These are from before we did the lesson. So that's your left arm, starts pulling, and this is essentially a straight arm pull, and the arm rotates sort of under your body. Alright, and then right arm, good extension, and then you can see the bit of the angle here. So that's good right there. That's the sort of early vertical forearm I'm talking about, and then it pivots in under your body. What happens when your forearm comes in under like that, you just give up some leverage that you could be using from your lat. Your lat is the big muscle that's pulling you through the water.